Welcome to Tiny's arTEAsan party. I'm here joined by many artisans from the mechanical keyboard community, and we're just gonna hang out and talk. Before I get started, how about we go around and just say who you are. You can say your real name and then your cap name, whatever, your brand, and like, I don't know, some fun fact about you or something.
I have to go first.
You're right next to me, so.
I'm Kate, also known as Boober, which is, fun fact, sounds weird to say out loud. That's my fun fact.
That's your fun fact?
I guess.
Oh, okay.
Are we doing fun facts?
I don't know, I didn't know we needed a fun fact.
Tell me your favorite
Keyboard.
Keyboard.
Color is purple.
What's your end game keyboard? I don't know.
Is there ever an end game?
What's your current end game keyboard?
My daily keyboard that I love a bunch is a 660C.
Okay.
That's what I use.
The Topper one?
Yeah. It's got a Murray row on it now. I finally replaced my snack keys with Murrays.
Nice.
For like 3 years.
That's cool. I'm Kyle, also known as Sneaky Potato, also known as Keyforge. And a fun fact about me, or are we doing the boards? The boards, I have a Viper B2 with Ergo clears. That's kind of like my end game board. But I'm here today to try out some Buckling Spring because I want to get on that Model F Group Buy. So we're gonna see. I know, right? We're gonna see if I like it. Today's gonna be interesting.
My name's Lisa. I'm from Primecaps. Pardon me. Primecaps. I'm also known as Pink as Hip on the internet. I don't really have an end game. I just use a Ducky one full-size keyboard. I guess
It works for you?
it works for me. It's got a lot of space to put my caps on it, so a lot of space is good.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I'm Frank, Primecaps as well. Fun fact about me, I like doodling, and I'm really enjoying my Rubber Dome Real Force right now. But I was thinking about trying out a Let's Split, just to try a split keyboard and see how I feel about it.
And
Yeah, buddy.
going all in one.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Colin, IP9932CD. It's just fun hearing people say IP. I make the capybaras and nomis. Fun facts. I don't know. This is tough.
If you don't have a fun fact, you could say end game.
End games don't exist. I currently really like my HHKB Pro 1. It's really nice and feeling. AO, so it's really nice. Yeah.
That's cool.
So to get started, I just was wondering how you guys got into, I guess, artisans, if there's a story behind that, or if it's one day you just had some sort of stroke of genius and just wanted to make cabs. I don't know. We go backwards.
I'm gonna go first.
Backwards.
Perfect. Nice job sitting in the middle here. I don't know. I stumbled upon the mechanical keyboard subreddit, and then saw people had the little artisans, and I've always been a maker of things, and it's like I can give that a go, and just got down the rabbit hole of having to perfect my shit, my crappy caps. Sorry. So I just got down that wormhole and ever just wanted to just make caps for myself, and then ended up people like them, and that's how it got into an actual profitable thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's cool. Well, for us, I mean, I found Geek Hack and mechanical keyboards way back. I was back in it wasn't way back, but 2014, 2015 or whatever. And I was kind of like a lurker for a while, and kind of like hung out and made comments here and there. And then, I started to get more into mechanical keyboards over time. And I always have had like a thing where I really like working. I like working with hands-on art and doing like sculptures and stuff like that. And both Lisa and I both found that we both enjoyed it, and so we decided to do it together. And it's been something that's been good for both of us to work as a team on.
Yeah, I have a background in theatrical design, so I've done a lot of scale work, like small modeling type things. Frank found mechanical keyboards, and I was kind of looking for something to do, so I was like, I gotta try it out, and then it turned into something we could do, and so yeah, that's what I do for fun.
For me, I've always made all kinds of random stuff. Like for years, I used to sculpt these stupid little statues and sell them, and I painted for a long time and sold paintings. And
Like miniatures?
no, they were like at a Sculpey. I would just sculpt little people and just it's stupid stuff, just like dumb. And
Like
everybody,
little D&D
people-
figurines.
yeah, like little
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
but they weren't even for anything. It was just like put them on. I don't know.
That's
yeah.
cool.
So just stuff like that, and everybody thought I was insane because I was always like making things, and I used to do greeting cards that I would send out and things, cool stuff like that. And then I've been in the mechanical keyboards community for a long time and geek hacking things. And when Clack was doing all of his sales, that was when I was like, okay, this is cool, you know. But I could never freaking get any Clack keys. I would always miss out on it, or I'd be up at like 2 a.m. and he'd post and I'd get on and I'd be like too late, you know, and I'd always miss out on the sales.
Or do you go to the bathroom and
Yes,
you're like,
yes.
why did I go poo?
Yes, right. Why did I do that? So after I finally, in the Clack event, I think it was like last year or 2 years ago, I finally won like 3 times. And it was like the best feeling of my life. It was like the greatest thing ever. And so I was like, I want to do this, you know, like I want to get into this and I want to make these things and give other people that feeling. So I just started, I've been sculpting, but I'd never sculpted like anything so detailed and so small. So it was kind of a challenge to like really dig in and try to like sculpt as tiny as I possibly could and all this stuff. It was a lot of fun. So basically did it because I couldn't get my own keys, and I didn't like anything that I could get, so I decided to just make my own stuff, you know, and it's just kind of snowballed into this crazy thing that I love that it like combines all of my like kind of talents that I have into like this one totally weird thing that everybody in my family like thinks I'm insane for, but it's great. It's like, oh yeah, they're all just like, oh, so you're still doing that weird little key thing? You know, like, yeah, I guess. They're like, well, maybe one day you'll get a real job. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Grandma. You know? Okay, cool. So yeah.
I feel like I've answered this question a million times.
You probably have. Sorry.
I got started when I made a key set, and I was like, I want to see if I can do an astronaut to match it.
Yeah.
So I started making my little.
Oh, so the cosmo was to match Deep Space.
Yeah, everyone who bought Deep Space, if you sent me a receipt, you got put in a raffle, and then like I picked 10 people, and they got like a free like
I didn't know
Cosmo. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I just remembered it being here for like sculpts, but I don't remember like where.
Yeah, it's like, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I wanted people to like buy it, so I was like, well, maybe if I do like fun stuff with it. And I was also like super into the community because like I read Ben's old threads and I was like on the fountain pen stuff, and I was like, I had all these friends and I was like super hyped on the community too. So I was like, I want to be interactive in this. And so I like made the little thing and then posted my whole tutorial on it, and it was a lot of fun. And I think the community, like being so supportive and all that, was like, I want to do this some more. So I started making other things.
Yeah. So your guide, actually, I think a lot of people looked to as one of kind of like the
that's like my favorite
places to
thing.
start. Yeah, when people ask me like, yeah, go check out.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure.
totally looked at
Your
you.
guy.
Look at everybody
Yeah.
here, like, yeah, we just looked at it.
Your guide was the one that didn't suck. Like it was really like, and there was pictures, and it was
Yeah.
like, do this,
And the
it was
pictures were
really
still
nice.
there.
It was good. Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
a good guide
From the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I try to do things in a way that's accessible, where it's
Yeah.
like, it could be very technical, but it can also just be like, hey, get
Yeah.
a cardboard box and some duct tape and some
Right.
Sculpey. You're good to
Exactly.
go. So,
Yeah.
Best community ever, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Out of all
everyone's
of
super
them,
supportive about
yeah.
learning and doing.
That's,
Well, and just the fact that they support, like, we're a small business, but
Yeah.
we get so much support from everyone that we can actually do that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's way better than like the artisanal chopstick community. They're horrible. They're the worst. They are so stuck up. It's like if you don't have these chopsticks that are made of the best like, you know, materials, and
Porcelain.
nobody even wants to talk to you, you know. So this is better, really.
I didn't even know
Chopsticks
that
don't pick up
existed.
food.
It doesn't. I just made
Okay.
that. If there is a community
might
for
be
it.
a
There
thing,
probably
right?
is.
It just started now.
I think that
I'm gonna get
community.
out making molds. I got plenty of chopsticks at home.
Yeah,
So,
I think that community meets right after the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings.
Yeah.
They meet right after you go, and then yeah.
So you guys talked about like, I mean, I guess like it started as a hobby or something. Do any of you do it full time? Actually, don't. Like this is actually your job.
Yep, Frank and I work full time on it. He recently joined me full time.
I left my.
He left his other job about like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And did that take a lot of like, I mean, financial planning to like you have to weigh and see?
I have nothing to lose, and it's one of those times, and you know, when you're in your life, when you reach a point and you're like, I should just do it, and you're like, you know what's holding me back from doing what I actually enjoy doing with my life? And it was like, you know, I just get so much enjoyment out of it, and like my other job was like, it was like, you know, management, high up director, and it was just so stressful. And then like when I get home and do keycaps, I'd always just be so like, I just feel so relaxed after, and I'd be able to get all of my like emotion into the caps, and it would kind of help me deal with the stress in my regular life. And so eventually I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna transition. And then now I just work on keycaps 124 hours a day pretty much. Yeah.
Mine's still very much a hobby, like free time thing.
And it's not,
If I ever made it into like, every time myself, if I get so anxious and stressed, I'm like, it's not fun anymore.
It's not fun.
And I don't want to make anything. You know? I wouldn't want it to be like my real job. 'Cause, you know, like if I had, I've done like 1 or 2 commissions, and I'm just like, it took me a year to do it. I'm like, no, it's not what I want to do. I just don't make anything. So.
I feel you there.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It takes away, like, you still have to make what you want to make, right? But, I don't know. When I was young, I was, you know, you're like, I was into art, and, you know, you think, oh, I'm going to grow up to be an artist, but no, you can't really do that. And then I, like, got to where, you know, a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago, and I was unemployed, and I was like, well, like, why don't I just do this? Like, and then I'm like, I'm an artist now. I can say that I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm kind of in the I'm in that transitionary period right now because I actually started a new job recently, and I realized for the past like couple of years, all I think about every day is just keycaps. I mean, I go to work and I think about keycaps all day long, and so I realized recently, it's like all day long I'm just thinking like, wait, can I till I get home so I can. So I'm actually like about to do this full time here in the next couple weeks, so I'm like quitting and start, because it's what I've always wanted to do. And just like she said, growing up I always wanted to be an artist, but I didn't know like what kind of art I wanted to do because I was never really amazing at anything. I was always just kind of okay. And I'd see all these other artists, and I'm like, oh, I want to be an artist, you know. And I actually wanted to be a ventriloquist when I was a little kid. Yeah, and then everybody shut that dude down. Apparently, you can't make it in the ventriloquist world. So anyway, I was like, recently I'm just like, why not? Like you said, why not? What do you have to lose? Like, this is what I love to do more than anything else. This is what I think about all the time. It's like, who cares if it works out or if it doesn't? At least I got to do something that I love to do. So I'm going to be doing this full time pretty soon. So next couple weeks.
that's inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm just balancing this in between school right now. I'm part-time making caps, part-time studying wine right now at the Wine Academy locally. Trying to right now get a certification in French wine studies. It's just a shit ton of. It's a crap ton of information to remember. It's a lot, but like I'll be sitting in class and we'll be talking about stuff, and I'm like thinking about making a TMX stem or something like that. Like wait, what did we just talk about? My doodles are all just like caps and stems, and like my doodling is just totally changed into caps and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, keycaps has definitely melded all of my hobbies and learnings into finally an outlet that I can like show. When I was in college, I tried to get into industrial design, but the staff didn't like any of the stuff I did. Even though it was like, because they were super form over function, and I was function over form. So all my designs worked, but weren't exactly pretty to them. And then I ended up in the photography area, but they were too fine art photography, and I was like, I don't need any artsy talk. I just like making a nice image. Yeah. But all of the skills from those two kind of like melded. I ended up making the concrete keyboard.
Yeah, dude.
So that just ended up blowing up on the mechanical keyboard Reddit, and I didn't know. I woke up and there was like 3,000 likes, and it was like reposted all over the internet. Like Gizmodo in like Germany was like, crazy person makes concrete board, and I sent like the links to my mom. I was like you're famous, she sent this all these other people. It's like, look, all these articles about this concrete thing. Like if you Google concrete board, it's like his thing. It's like,
that's so cool.
So it's
overnight celebrity,
right? It's weird.
That's cool.
Weird.
I mean, your guys' posts have hit like front page of Reddit, like from the Mechanical Keyboards subreddit, and you've gotten probably a lot of people coming in and be like, "What is this thing?" Like, and I think that's actually really cool. That's one of the I think better hobbies that can actually reach like
The mass.
the masses,
Right.
right? Like normal people, right? Like it's cool
Normal
because they can
people.
actually they can relate to it. It's like, you know, anybody can use a keyboard, right? But not everybody plays around with knives or whatever artisanal
True,
chopsticks or
true.
you know, right? It's a little bit different. So have you guys gotten like, I mean, people who have seen your stuff from there and just I don't know.
It's really interesting, you know, like the way I always look at it is, you know, like you were mentioning before with people like bringing in the masses and whatnot, right? People always ask me, they're always like, you know, like what is mechanical music? Why do you do it, right? And I'm like, well, you know, I always tell people, I'm like, well, you know, someone who does running, they buy nice shoes. You know, someone who does driving for a living, they're gonna buy a nice car, right? And you know, I'm like, do you type on a computer 8 hours a day, like people who work at a desk? And they're like, yeah, and they use like just a regular, you know,
Yeah.
rubber dome, whatever, not topre.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, well, you know, wouldn't you want to type on something that's nice? Like it feels better, like you can customize. And they kind of start to get it then because you try to make it relatable to other things to help them understand why you spent your life savings on keyboards. And but yeah, it's interesting though because it's like that's one of the things I've been always dreamt of was trying to make it as accessible to people as possible.
Yeah.
And part of that is like just making things really sparkly. And people seem to really like shiny, sparkly things and suspensions, and I think that's part of the reason that our posts have been like super popular on Reddit is because it's something that you can just click open and you're like, oh, it's sparkly, you know, upload or whatever.
Well, and you had a lot of product photography experience in
Yeah.
your previous job, so you can take some pretty nice photos.
Yeah, your
which
photos
helps.
are like
Yeah, they're very nice.
so clean. It's like you can see the little galaxy inside of
Oh,
the
yeah.
keycap, right?
It's the worst
Or,
when someone uses like
that's
their camera phone with the
Oh.
worst lighting. They're trying to
Oh
take
my
a picture
God.
of it. You're
Yeah,
like,
and you're like, oh, no.
When
what
they
are-
take a picture of your cap and you're like, no.
Don't even get
Well,
me
the worst now is
started.
the arts and macro stuff
Yeah.
because they're getting super detailed
Yeah.
pictures. And I'm like, I don't even look that close to my caps. Oh god.
You don't want to. No, just
There's a
kidding.
hair
Oh,
embedded
yeah.
in the eyeball.
Oh yeah, you like take photos like and a lot of times I'll take photos of my keys and they look pretty clean. You know, so I take them outside and I'm like, you know, just setting everything up, take a photo. There's like all this hair and crap
Yep.
on there and like, and I'm like, what
How did I
the-
get there?
It's like, I'm filthy. I'm disgusting. You know.
Well, you gotta have like air filtration and stuff. Do you guys? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I like spray all the molds off, and then I'll like
Oh, yeah.
just I'll turn them over and like cover them to try to prevent
Yeah.
any
Oh,
sort of.
yeah, of course.
But the mold releasing process and stuff like that, I find can like cause like dust to stick.
Yeah, dust gets set. Well, you
Yeah.
need,
All
we
the
need to
static
like
and
set
everything.
up some sort of a cool like clean room, you know,
You need a stage
with like
5 clean room and
ventilation
everything.
stuff, where we have to put on the Breaking Bad outfits every time and go in there.
Right.
And then your workshop really does look like you're making meth. And,
Right.
because mine already does.
I'm always scared of our neighbors.
neighbors.
Yeah, because we've got like
Oh, yeah.
hoses going out our window, and I'm
Yeah.
like in like a full suit,
Yeah.
walking around in there.
Okay, my neighbors see me through my window all the time, wearing my full mask,
Yeah.
shirtless, walking around. You know, I look like they're.
Cast shirtless.
I don't know. Sometimes,
With
you know,
like a
sometimes-
beard?
I know sometimes I'm just like in basketball shorts and nothing else. With my, you know, my mask on, I just look like
The Walter
they're probably
White look
thinking,
with just
yeah.
briefs on.
You should get one of those like bubble helmets like Charlie had, where you can
Exactly.
like put the beer up there.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I need. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm sure
quarantine.
my neighbors think that I make drugs for a living, which you know is not
Some
too
people,
far
yes,
from the
It's,
truth.
it's nearly the same
do
equipment.
make
It's true. It's,
Well,
you'll make a
just
thing of
take-
keycaps, and I'm like a pound of cocaine and keycaps, very
I
similar.
know, dude.
You know,
Yeah.
the effects on society, very similar. You know.
They're just crazy.
That reminds me of I locked eyes with my neighbor through the window the other day when
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, and that's always really awkward. I don't know if you guys ever done that. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems your house.
They're looking at you. You're looking.
Yeah,
at
they were
them.
looking at me when I was opening the window to put all my ventilation hoses
Oh, I
out,
see.
and like with all my and they like looked at me and they're like,
Honey, they're at it again.
Call the police.
yeah.
Awesome. Something that I wanted to ask you guys is what is your favorite part about like I guess the whole keycap thing, and I guess your least favorite part. I guess we can talk about it in different sections, but if there's like a specific part of the process that you really like, or just I don't know. We'll start in the middle this time.
Yes. I think my favorite part is the fact that I can make something. Like I can make. I don't know how to say this. It's like I can make something and do A to Z myself. It's like I make a product. I come up with the idea. I like make it physically, and then I take photos of it, which is another really cool thing that I love, like the photography aspect. And then like the advertising aspect and marketing, where it's like I'm letting people see it and I'm showing it off, and then from there shipping it, packaging it, doing all that stuff is really cool to me. There's not a lot of things where you can just make something from A to Z get it to people, and it's actually, I don't know, like you can do a lot of it, and it's worth it. You know, it's not like I'm making, I don't know, like artisanal kale chips, and I'm mailing those out to people all over the world. You know, it's like I'm making something that people have a desire for. There's a whole community built around this stuff.
We love our worldwide shipping.
Yeah. So I love, that's my favorite part about it, is it's just like I can make something myself, get it out there. I have like total control over it, and then people actually want it. It's not like I have to sell it to people like, hey, this keycap will make your ergonomics better. You know, it's like the people find their own reasons to want it. You know, I don't have to be like, this is why. Yeah. So I really like that. It's nice as like an artist, like we were saying, to make something that people desire, and not something that you have to make people desire. You don't have to sell it to people. They already want it, and it makes you feel good. It's like I can make something and people actually like what I make.
Right.
You know, it's cool. I love that part about it. Are we doing what we don't like yet, or is that after?
No, we'll do that.
Okay, all right.
Anybody who wants to talk?
I'll go. Just because I agree so much. Like I love that I've made something from conception to like product.
Yeah.
Like putting liquid into a mold and then having something solid come out. It just blows my mind every time.
Yeah, it's bringing something. It's like planting. I look at it like gardening. It's like planting a seed and completely growing the plant to fruition, and then
eating the fruit.
Exactly, yeah. And so you get to see the whole process. It's not like you're doing work for someone. It's like you put yourself into it,
Right.
and it becomes an extension of yourself. And then when people appreciate that, it makes you feel better about what you're doing. You know, in a way, it's like you feel appreciated in a way.
Instead of fruit on your tree, it's bags of cocaine. Basically, you're growing cocaine trees.
I mean, that's how my capybara came out. I mean, it was always something that I wanted to do for myself. It was never, ever intended to be sold to anyone. And then I just was one of those experiments of just experimenting things, and I posted a picture, and they're like, people were like, you have like 50 of these, sell them to me. I'm like, okay, fine. Okay. But it was like people want something that was just my creation that was like, that's just weird. And then like I get to ship it worldwide, like knowing something that I made is like, oh, so this is in Belgium, this is over here, this is in South. I was like, it's so cool just knowing something that I made is in someone's like possession, like all around the world. It's like, that's just.
And they like value it.
Yeah,
they like put it on their desk and look at it, and they show people in their family, and their family's disappointed in that.
They're like,
and
like,
you know,
what does this do? It's like, it's a thing.
Cool.
It's like, does it do anything? No.
I can't wait until like divorces start to happen
over
something that I've made. You know, they're like, you have too many of these, I'm leaving you. You know, and then
Are they gonna have to cut
You're
the
supposed to
keycap
feed
in
the
half?
children.
Probably.
put it in the papers. The lawyer's like, well, you have 4 fugus.
You've got a keycap prenup.
Those are definitely going over here. You're going to split that right in half, and then they fight over which colorway. Yeah, it's interesting.
That's cool.
My favorite part is actually just the community in general, I think. I don't know. I've learned so much, and there's so many like enthusiastic. I feel like there's a very high concentration of good people if you like don't look for the negative.
Yeah.
And like I've got friends who I haven't had in my life for a very long time now who aren't even into keyboards anymore that I still hang out with and see on a regular basis. And they're all just like good people, and they motivate you to do other things. And that's like the only reason I've stayed in it. Like even when I've been like, I'm so sick of it, blah blah blah. I got on Slack and someone hurt my feelings. And then like I'll talk to all my friends in like real life that I have, and I'm like, I love this community. I love doing it. I'll make some more things. I don't know. That's why I try to keep all my stuff like. I've never raised my prices. I do giveaways and all that because like I like people getting joy from something that I've made. Because like I'm a designer in my real job, and all I hear all day is like, make this edit, make this red, make it pop. Blah, blah, blah. And everyone like is always like mean and like this is I can make it myself. And I'm like, okay, well then make it yourself. And then like with keycaps, people are just supportive and generally enthusiastic about learning and things and doing and teaching you stuff too. Like I've learned so much and how to solder and how to do all these things. Like, people are just giving with their knowledge and their
Learn
things.
so many things just from casting caps. Like I can make a 2-part mold. It's like it's not just limited to keycaps. Like I can make a mold of anything. It's like
personally, I never do because
I never do right now. Because I don't
it's like,
But what are you gonna make?
that's
Chopsticks?
Chopsticks,
Right?
you know? You can carry that knowledge. When this community falls apart and there are no more keyboards left, we are all moving our knowledge over to something just like golf balls. It'll be like artisanal golf balls, and we will know how to make those. Yeah.
Double shot golf.
Yeah. We have all these amazing skills now that are like mean nothing. In the real world. It's like I now know how to loop switches. That means nothing in the real world. You know.
I'm the fastest lube or switch luber in the West.
I know. I think about all the time that all the time I have put into. I have notepads. I like fountain pens too, but I have these like notebooks that are just full of just packed full of writing and stuff, and things that I've thought about and like ways that I've come up with to do certain things and processes, and I think if it weren't for this community, I would have wasted all. I mean, I might as well have like tried to design like a better fire hydrant or like something stupid, so dumb, you know. And I'm like, wow. Hopefully this community just keeps moving forward, because if not, I have wasted a lot of time. But it's been worth it. It's fun. It's fun learning new stuff.
Actually, I'm going to segue into something that I think I'm just curious about. We're going to skip the least favorite part, save it for later. But kind of what you're saying, like, I mean, we talk about how big the artisan kind of like pool is getting, right? Like, there's a lot of new people coming in. Like, where do you guys see, I think, I don't know, do you see this being still a thing in like a couple years? Obviously, like, you guys are just kind of taking it in at the moment, like kind of just going for it, and it is a thing right now, right? And there's demand for artisan keycaps, but like, I mean, for me, I feel like, what if just some giant corporation comes in and just starts like churning out keycaps because they can and it's cheaper, right? And is there going to be a need for artisans? And at some point, it's like you get a lot more. Like, I think at some point 2 years ago, it was like I could count. Or like it was like 30 people, and I could probably list all of them, right? And now it's just like I don't keep track of everybody. I can't keep track of everybody, and it's just a lot. And do you see like I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about where it's going, or
I mean, we've only been in the community a couple of years or a year and a half, so for our short time, it seems like it's still going up. Maybe you guys have a better insight.
You know, as far as like, you know, a takeover of the community, the way I look at it is, because it's a piece of art, I don't think that a corporation can take that in a way. They might be able to make like really nice things, but people won't want them in the same way, because part of what makes art appealing is the artist and like the effort that goes into the work, and like mass produced, like, you know, like, oh, you know, people a lot of the time,
Want something unique.
Yeah, exactly, they want something unique that's individual for them.
Or they knew who they got it from, or
Yeah.
who made it, right? So.
I feel like it's like a whole generational shift in general with like society, because a lot of things were mass produced and manufactured, and like people lost their sense of individuality. And now you can get on Etsy and like make customized keyboards and all this stuff, and like have a story, and like you're able to personalize your space more, and people I think are drawn to that. I thought the bubble was going to burst like 2 years ago, and it keeps getting crazier and crazier. So I really have no idea if it's going to or not.
I think it's got a ways to go. Like, think about, okay, this is the winter meetup, but in the summer meetup, there's gonna be like 500 people at that. That's, I don't know, that seems crazy.
Right, it's
That's
a lot of
like-
people just for
like,
keyboards.
Just for
It's like-
keyboards, right? I mean, it's a couple hundred.
I honestly think this will be an established art form eventually, and that in like 20 or 30 years or 50 years, there'll be like galleries where you'll be able to go and look at like people's work and stuff.
I mean, that's
like
what
that.
I saw those you know, little money figurines. So those, I thought those were just going to be like little, you know, things you get at the grocery store for 25 cents. And now they're collector's items everywhere. Every, you know, brand name, tries to get like their version. It's all the same doll, but you know, it's just got colorways on it. You know, so that's just humongous. And then like in our group, I mean, there's so many people always popping up, but still only like a handful. Like I feel like actually stick around and maintain it, because
It's a lot of work.
there's
So
a
much
lot of
work.
work
Yeah.
into it. And I don't think a lot of people realize that after.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just like anything else. I mean, like they were talking about, and kind of we've all talked about, it's still art, and so right now we don't have a lot of mass-produced art. We don't have a lot of people who are coming in and just churning out keys by the hundreds or thousands. That will come eventually. I mean, probably in the next year or so. We've already seen tons of people come in, and there's going to be companies who come in and they sculpt really well, and they churn out thousands of these sculpts. I mean, that's going to happen, but it's just like that in the art world. There are artists, or in the like book world, like novelists, and stuff, people just churn stuff out, and there is an art audience and a market for that, where they just buy at low prices and they buy just whatever comes out as quickly as possible. But there's also a lot of people in the art world who they have an artist that they like, and they wait for that artist to make things, and then those things are valued. So I think that the whole bubble that will burst will be kind of the pricing, where the aftermarket pricing of keys are just so ridiculously high, because they'll be more accessible, and you'll get more of these front-end customers who are buying from the artist, or from whoever is selling the keys, and that aftermarket prices won't be so crazy. But I really don't see. I mean, maybe a couple of years ago I thought maybe this might burst, but the keyboard community is so strong and it's picking up so much momentum that I don't see. I see there being a lot more artisans, but you notice we see artisans every day, every week that pop up that are brand new, and a lot of times they disappear after a couple months. After they have a couple sales, they realize how difficult it is to make a lot of keys and sell them and have everything go smoothly. It's a lot of work, and so
then to want to maintain that after doing one sale, it's like, well, I made these colors that I like.
Exactly.
I don't want to repeat myself again.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a lot of
I don't
work.
want to make anything new. It's like I did what I wanted to do. It's like, do I retire it now? It's like.
So I think right now is like a great time if you're artistic and if you enjoy keycaps. Now is a great time to get into it, but it's also a great time to realize like how much work it is right now for individuals. I mean, if you're like you guys, you're giving up careers and things like that to do this sort of thing, it's very time consuming. And so a lot of people will dip their toes in and we'll see some offerings from some artists and then it'll kind of go away. So, but we will also see some companies that just start dumping keys into the market, which is fine. It might make some people who flip caps mad, or people who are making a killing off these aftermarket prices mad. But I don't think it's going to affect us as long as we continue to make stuff that's relevant and make our own work. We can't make one sculpt and continue to write off that for 20 years, but
It's all about the growth as an artist. Mm-hmm. And honestly, what I've seen recently is that, did you guys see the new cherry, the new
Yeah.
So you're gonna start seeing mechanical switches in laptops and stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's
have to be able to work with a laptop.
Yeah.
You got to have one that's like this tall, so you can't close the laptop.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But you will. I mean, you can have low pro. So
Right.
I mean, I see like that the community's adapting to
I
the
agree.
changes in technology. That was one of my things. Is I was like, well, touchscreens. Like,
Oh, yeah.
are people gonna eventually only use touchscreen?
We'll make touchscreen artisans that are just
That's-
drawn.
I mean, right, yeah.
Exactly, and you just get a picture.
Yeah. So that was.
A holograph
Yeah, hologram.
artisan.
Exactly.
Artists and emojis.
Artists and emojis. In the future, you could just it'll be like Star Wars, where they have the chess table, like the hologram, and we'll just make like little companions. You can have like a
By the
little
one
shishi
base.
companion that just follows you around, or like a Kiwok that just follows you around.
I love the
and, like
Kiwok.
chatters. It's like,
So much.
Yeah, you guys mentioned about how much work it is, and it's actually like something. I mean, because I did clay for a really long time, right? And I mean, it's less work because I just work on one keycap at a time, and I was doing resin casting on the side, like occasionally because it was hard in between working and streaming. I was just like, there's no time for this, right? And after like my first sale, which I still need to ship things out, was like, I mean, there's so much stuff that like people don't think about, right? Like there's all these, and I think that's my question about your least favorite part, at least for me, like is the like sanding and then like polishing and then the like actually packing and then like shipping the stuff and all the kind of logistical stuff when you send out invoices. Like that's like my least favorite part. I would rather like I would rather not deal with that if I could.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe at some point someone will create a business that will expedite that for you.
Yeah.
And that would be really nice.
Right.
I would totally pay for that. But yeah, that's like my least favorite part. I love like I think one of my
I'll ship
favorite
your
parts
kits.
is like opening the mold and then seeing like what
Everything
what,
after
Yeah.
that is downhill.
yeah,
The first.
the peak is like or like there's a sound to it.
and then you go to
It's
bed.
just
Right
showing
after.
your
And you just go to
every time.
bed.
It's like, did it work? Did it not work? Did the
Yeah.
shots stay? Did they not
Yeah.
stay?
Yeah, it's like it's.
I always do
opening
my
a
last
thread.
shot before bed and then get up and like Christmas
Nice.
bubbles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my least favorite part. I don't know if you guys have other.
I mean, it took me a while. I don't mind the shipping part. I finally found the right size box that works perfectly with like the labels that I print. That fits inside people's mailboxes that don't get lost. It took me a while to get that right size box from Uline, but it's like found it, and now I just keep that, and I don't mind it. And I like the labeling part because it enables me each time to learn like a new skill. In making a label, so I'll make a stamp or learn how to like a line block print or something like that. So each kind of time I'm making labels is a time for me to learn a new skill in art making. And so I'm always trying to learn something new, either a new sketch or that type of thing. So it's not as fun as making the caps because you have to make 50 some of the same label over and over again. But it's a fun little thing that I can build up another skill while doing that type of stuff.
I think it's hard because like most of us don't, and people don't. I don't think people realize it. They do, but they don't understand how difficult it is. When you do everything yourself, like I was saying before, like the A to Z, when you do all of that by yourself, it is really liberating for you, but it is also very difficult for you. I mean, most people who make these startup companies or even, anything, they got a team of 3-4 people or a business partner, and they have somebody handle this and handle that, and they hire somebody who actually has experience with something like that, and we are doing all of it. And it seems so simple to just make some keys and throw them in some bags and ship them out, but it's not that simple. It is a lot of work, like you were saying, with the sanding and polishing. I mean, it would be cool to hire somebody to do that, but a lot of the times you're so particular and you know exactly how it has to be that you can't. And two, you're not going to go hire somebody if they can't work for a living sanding your keys. You know, I mean, they can't make a living out of that. So, yeah, I guess.
Hire like an intern, like
exactly.
a high schooler.
Exactly. Hire children. They're the best. Children work for free. They work for snacks. You want some Oreos? You sand those 200 keys.
Going to schools and trying to hire kids to come work at your
house. Like that's already a bad idea.
I got Oreos.
Yeah. Kids looking for a minimum wage job? Like this is second grade, sir. You're gonna have to leave before we call the police.
Does anyone have any wallet making experience here?
Wallet making.
No, it's interesting though. Yeah, the A to Z thing is a challenge. I mean, we split.
We're lucky.
Yeah, we split our work
between.
Yeah.
I personally hate making silicone molds. I hate mixing silicone. Yeah. So I make Frank do
I love
it.
mixing silicone. I wish I could just wipe it all over my face.
Ah, dude,
like, it's so like creamy.
Appealing.
Oh, dude, I use like a mixer and it's just like
that's cool.
Oh yeah, paint mixer.
One of these days, I want to lay down and just have somebody like coat me in silicone. I want to make a mold of myself with like air holes, and I'll just.
And we'll make it into a wine keycap.
Does that mean you'll have to get like spray?
Yeah, that's a fetish territory. It's like a new fetish. I just want to be covered in silicone.
Spray me in mold release first.
They'll be like, where's Kyle? You know, where's Steve Potato? Like he's in his weird fetish mold release. He's like in a 2-part mold. Just like I am the keycap. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You see that the keycap?
Yeah.
You'd have to build a giant like Lego.
Oh yeah. Dude, I would do it.
Yeah, out of Lego.
I feel like it'd be a couple $100 in silicone, you know, but it'd be worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And then just imagine if I made a giant version of myself, and then I could cast resin versions of myself and mail those. And so you like climb into bed and you've got this weird awkward like stiff thing of me, and that'd be cool. See, so if we ever, if the community falls apart, guys,
we're making stashes.
Yeah. Resin. Giant life-size fetish dolls.
Oh no.
Next step.
It'd be
make
so
them out
much
of
easier to
silicone.
do multi-shots on those though.
Oh yeah. But really though, I mean, if you're single and you're lonely, and you know you have a giant silicone version of your favorite artisan that's nice and squishy, you know you can cuddle up next to it and it's all squishy and.
It's giving me the giggles.
Yeah, it's actually, hold on.
It's like, where do you go from there? Where do we go now?
I think I should hold these
The
up.
Keyfectionary?
Somebody made these.
Awesome.
They're so cool.
They're chocolate. I don't know if they can hear me.
They're chocolate artisans. So someone has taken already made artisans and they've made food safe molds, and then they poured chocolate into them.
Do they have stems, or are they just solid?
I think some of them have
I was gonna
stems.
say that'd be pretty hard to get
Look
chocolate.
at them.
Yeah. He did some with stems, yeah.
Some of them don't. I have
As you
some
type,
with
it
the
just melts
users.
away.
Actually, sorry.
And you can tell which keys you use.
Well, that's what he's
I
trying to
think
do.
his
He's trying
name
to
is
stop
Dictator.
bubbles.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I told him to
I
keep
think
the
this
molds
one has
heated,
one.
Yeah.
but he was using
Yeah,
food
this
safe
is one of our first
molding, so
mix.
it remelts if you heat
That
it
was
up.
one of our
So he
first
couldn't
stems.
keep
It's
the
like
mold
3D
heated
Oh,
when
yeah,
he was
he's
pouring.
using the composite mode.
Exactly,
I thought about it, and I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I want to eat that
I
mold.
was scared to like if I make chocolates and I send them to people and somebody like
Gets sick.
or like chokes or I
I'm
don't
like
know. I
touching
don't want
you,
to be
sorry.
responsible for someone's
Like
like
business
hospital
pretty
bill.
safe.
Oh my God, I'm like, yeah, like
Sugar
I
and
don't.
like mint oil.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Okay.
if you die from that.
That's on you.
Like go sign a
It's
waiver.
like peanut
before they eat
allergies.
it.
It's really, if a peanut can kill you.
That must be
I'm
such
gonna
a
eat one. I'm gonna eat one.
Do it. He
Well,
really
can we
wants
eat this?
people. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wants
He
people
wants
to.
to see it.
Who are
It's
you?
Oh, he
Yeah.
wants us to.
It's
Okay.
tea and
All right. Well, I
chocolate,
touched.
which I
Did
don't
anybody else
think
touch
it's
this one? I
eating
I
touched
did,
it.
but it's the only cow I'm
That's
eating.
our original.
one
That's our
of our
original
original
blanks.
caps,
Yeah.
Okay.
chaos
All right,
cat.
guys. Hold on.
Good.
You're like,
All
you can eat a
I'm
nose.
gonna eat.
That's so. It's so funny.
Eat one of my
seeing
own.
keycap in
It's-
chocolate.
Yeah, this is
My
like
own
weird.
cap.
It's like I
I
can
think
taste the
it's
stem. You know.
72%.
Dark chocolate.
Yeah, it's dark.
Okay. You know what? The chocolate's pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
It's not waxy, which I kind of thought they'd be waxy because you know how do you make a lot of the cheap chocolate you buy is all nasty. This is good.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's quality.
So now I'll just make a mold of that, just like, it's
Yeah, dude, I'd buy these. This is a good gift. You know,
so
for your ex-wife who divorced.
it's like, I'll keep the shishis, you can have the chocolate
Here, I
shishis.
spent the rest of my money on it. Now you can't get anything.
That's good. Now, hats off to him. He
Oh
did
no,
good.
babe, they were all chocolate the whole time.
They were. Oh man, they're so cute.
Keyboards are next. You should do a full keyboard with stems and keycaps on top of it, all made of chocolate.
Yeah.
And then send it to Australia and see how it goes. We
Those are
sent
good.
we sent chocolates out with our stuff, and yeah, we made
Some of them-
some of them melted.
Integration or
Well, because
Yeah.
you forget
like
that
out-
you're sending it to around the world, and maybe the other half of the world is in a different season than you, so it's winter
Right.
here. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh,
Yeah, think about that.
chocolate is not the best treat always.
Hard candies.
Yeah, that's
Smart.
That's not hard candy.
Yeah, I know.
I always pick the wrong candies.
You learn
It's a
though.
struggle.
I just want to give a chance for chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type it and I'll ask.
Yeah, I would totally ignore chat if I was ever live streaming.
I know.
This format is really hard because I have to listen to you guys and also like
Yeah.
I can't really respond to chat. But I think like at the end we can always do like AMA kind of thing. So if you guys
Sure.
have questions,
If you had a child that could read, he could monitor the chat. I'm telling you, it's the future.
Child labor.
And the past.
Past.
Wait, history's
We're going
repeating
full
itself?
circle.
Oh no.
It's about that time, right?
yeah, we're getting close to 2 o'clock and I don't want
I'll
to.
just loudly sip tea while we wait for questions.
Bang glasses on the table.
Or you guys have, if you guys have questions for each other, I mean, sometimes I don't even think some of you have met each other before this.
No.
So you guys, I don't know, have questions for each other. I thank you guys for coming out, by the way. We're sitting here. And,
Yeah, very fun.
worries.
This has been cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Where's everybody from?
I'm
We're
a
currently in
local
Seattle.
person.
Yeah.
I guess. Kind of the bounce between here and Cali. That's where I was moved up from. But this is like home now for like the past almost 10 years. So it's Seattle's home.
Nice. We're from Vancouver Island in Canada.
No, it's just up there.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're up on the island, just in Victoria there.
It's cool. Nice.
Yeah, so we just hopped down, had a 20-minute flight down to Seattle.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I know.
Yeah, we literally like got up
the,
and
took
went
the
down.
ferries up.
Oh, you did it?
Can you like ferry or drive?
Yeah, there's a ferry. And we took that last time.
kind of
but
fun.
the
You-
times
you
were
went to
really
Victoria?
late.
Yeah,
so-
we were up there just for a couple days. Yeah.
It's kind of a weird city,
Yeah.
eh? It's
Interesting. It's nice because you know decent food there, and it's like everyone's Canadian friendly, and like my
Oh,
US
sorry,
currency,
sorry,
my
sorry.
US currency still works there. I don't have to worry about exchanging anything. You know, people are like, you know
Roll it
what,
down.
whatever. Your money was worth more than ours, but we'll
Way
take
more.
it.
Just take it.
Anytime anybody's from Canada, I just think of like Trailer Park Boys. Because it's like my only experience with Canada at all. But I love it. You know, I'm like, oh, Canada, it's so cool.
Canada's
Even
all
though
like that.
I have like this weird distorted view of Canada, you know, but oh yeah, it's cool.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I have a blank that I'm kind of working on here and there right now, which is
Yeah.
like it's going to be a Rick key.
Oh yeah.
And it's like houndstooth, and it'll have like a gold chain like draped inside it, like inserted.
Very
So it'll be
nice.
like houndstooth. It's
That's pretty
it's
cool.
a pipe dream.
pipe dream.
Yeah.
You have stuff.
I have all the stuff. I just have to do it.
I am from Las Vegas, but I just moved to
Nice.
Salt Lake City. So
Cool.
pretty cool. I work for Tesla over there.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I work for Tesla.
Awesome, man. That's. Are you in the Gigafactory or whatever?
No, I'm in their corporate office. Oh. Not anymore though, because I'm gonna do keycaps full time. So, but still, cool place to
Your
live.
boss is not watching.
I know, right? I know. He's like, you son of a. I knew it.
That's funny.
I'm from Tennessee.
And I'm from California, so actually pretty diverse.
Yeah.
So questions. Can we expect a Ninja Tater sculpt from Keyforge? It'd be a sneaky potato. I think that was a joke,
Was it?
but it could also be a
You know what? It could be a real thing. It could happen. I could make a ninja potato. It'd be a sneaky
Yeah.
potato.
I like it.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. How dare you cut me off? No, like somebody was telling me the other day that whenever they play some game online, that they see all these different potatoes, like angry potato and all these, all these ones. And I guess my name's that. People are making variants of it.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
Outrage Pudding, just want to say thank you guys for coming together. You guys know who that is. What clay do you use? And if it's CX5, where do you get it?
Good luck with that.
So he
Good luck
wants
on
to
that
know where to
CX5.
get CX5.
Yeah.
I spent a year looking for it.
Yeah.
If you sneak into my house, you can steal a block of it.
You have to know someone who has CX5.
You have to
You
know.
can't just
Yeah.
buy it.
No.
He has I think he had medical issues.
He
so
vanished.
it's a side
Vanished.
note.
Yeah.
He doesn't really sell it anymore.
Oh, really?
so-
Honestly-
Like he didn't manufacture it through like a company.
No, he like
I've actually never
created
used
it himself,
CX5. I
and
have some that someone gave me finally, but I've never actually tried it.
a
I'm
lot
like
of work.
intimidated. to
Yeah,
use it.
seriously,
I'm like,
right?
you have to
It's a
melt it
whole
first.
learning experience.
So you guys don't all use CX5, or do you all use
So
CX5?
okay, so we use Monster Clay and Sculpey.
all of our sculpts so far have
Yeah.
been Sculpey.
Okay. Monster Clay is the one that doesn't it doesn't. pure? Like you can just leave it out and it'll like dry, but then you can heat it up again.
Yeah, so it's like I look at Monster Clay as being
clay.
between CX5 and Sculpey. It's a wax and you can get, of course, different firmnesses of it, but you can melt it and you can use heat to smooth it. But then it's easier to work with than CX5. So like I use a lot of these like wire band tools if I want to pull product out instead of like having to like scrape it away or like use a heated tool to like scoop it out. But yeah, like I said, I'm just about to start with CX5 and just kind of. I just got it. Yeah.
This is hard for me because when I first started, I mean, I've always just really liked Sculpey because it's so traditional feeling. It feels like clay, what you're used to, you know. So I've used Sculpey for years, and when I got really serious into things, now I use Super Sculpey Firm most of the time. But Monster Clay is also very, very good. But I intentionally have never tried CX5 because of the fact that I don't want to love it and like want it and not be able to get it. But so far, Super Sculpey Firm has worked out really great. It's easy to get. It's easy to use. It's like if you have any sort of experience with clay at all, even if it's traditional clay, like Sculpey is great because you get the different firmnesses and everything. You can learn to use. You can smooth it really easy. Yeah, but I like Super Sculpey Firm.
Same
You
boat.
haven't used it, but you also use.
I use Sculpey. I've used like various types of Sculpey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I use.
I think we're all sponsored by Sculpey here.
Yeah,
So
Sculpey.
if anyone uses
They
Sculpey,
have, like,
you know,
no
just
idea.
sponsor us.
Everyone uses Sculpey. When you break it all down, all of us have probably used Sculpey for everything.
Right.
It's
very
easy to
easy.
get. It's
It
easy to
works.
work with.
Yeah.
It makes hard.
And after
It's
I
really
finished
bright
using
inside.
Sculpey, I
Everywhere.
enjoy a delicious Diet Coke every time.
Do you have a button on your desk that dispenses it?
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Actually, this stream is sponsored by Cooler Master. Or
Cooler
actually,
Master,
rather,
wow. Oh, really,
I am
eh?
sponsored
Oh,
by
very cool.
Yeah, it actually,
Oh,
That was
hey,
like, that was like one of my first keyboards.
Mine too.
Yeah.
TK or Cooler Master Storm, TK Storm or whatever.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Fire Rapid.
They had the Quick Fire Rapid, yeah.
Yeah,
one of
that's
my first
quick
ones,
fire.
yeah.
That's what I have. Yeah.
So they can know, they can just know that they just ushered in, all of us
Yeah.
into this community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of my first words too. Yeah, so this is actually, or this trip is sponsored.
Thanks, Cooler
by
Master.
Very cool.
sponsor, so thank you. I think we can get through a couple more questions and then, let you guys get to the meetup.
Yeah, there's a meetup going on.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, where do they all go?
This is better because then we don't have to awkwardly stand there and people are like, so you like to make keys, huh? Yeah, I guess I do. Like, is it pretty hard? Yeah, it's pretty hard. Like super awkward questions.
Doesn't seem hard.
I think this might be kind of like towards Kyle, but is the increasing complexity in keycaps sustainable with current techniques? Sculpts like your sculpts have such fine details that it feels like it's close to the limit of details doable with resin.
I think that's actually a really good question because when I started sculpting super crazy detailed, that was actually one of my big intentions was I wanted to push the limit of what was being done in terms of detail because it's much more difficult to mass produce keys that have a ton of detail with certain techniques. A lot of the
Like that
techniques you
snake
see in my
cabbages,
shishis, yeah.
the
A lot of the
tiny
technique you
tongue
see
and
with my shishis where the faces are like, kind of plastered with different colors. It's way hard to do that on a huge scale with a ton of keys. So I don't know. People might find ways to do it, and as I improve my processes, I'm able to do more and more with better accuracy and less failed keys. But I don't know. I guess it just depends on but you know what? If you had like 10 people, you could probably make a lot of them. Just teach them the techniques. But I guess as people's techniques evolve, you're going to be able to make more and more keys. But I'm really kind of at the limits where I make as many keys as I can, the best that I can, and I continually try to improve those processes. But for now, that's kind of my limit. I don't think I could make more than I'm doing now. So.
That's probably geared to you because of the fine details that you have.
Yeah,
here. So
I don't
it's
know
just
what you guys
I
think.
look at it and I'm just like, how the heck? Those teeth are so tiny. How did he even?
Well,
Magic.
another good example is Binge. Binge is,
yeah,
especially his Earl key.
Yeah,
That's
the
a
little
great
buttons,
example.
like,
Did
are
you see
all clean?
arTEAsan?
Oh, the
Oh, yeah.
arTEAsan is.
I was just looking at the headband on
Yeah.
it, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is
Little
amazing.
intricacies in there.
But in terms of the casting process itself, because realistically, sculpting super finely detailed is, it can always be more detailed, but in terms of producing those keys accurately with the techniques, that's more difficult. So Binge is a great example of sculpting for casting. not just sculpting and trying to cast with your sculpt. Binge, especially with the Earl key, the new one. I mean, it is all the pockets and places that it holds resin perfectly where he wanted it to go. That is where, you know, if you can sculpt for casting, then, you know, you can kind of make more of them, you know. The Shishi was the first key that I tried to do that with, where I was like, I'm gonna like make recessions where I want the resin to lay, and it works great, you know. So yeah, Binge is a good example of that.
Sorry. Do you mainly make MX caps because there's more demand, or do you avoid topre and other stems because of other reasons? From Nick Heller.
Oh, hi, Nick.
I personally don't like, we haven't made very many, but sanding topre caps is really annoying because they're not flat.
Right.
They have a little stem that's sticking out, so you have to like do it on an edge of something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just, we're gonna make more topre caps. That's just my.
There's a lot of
2
challenges
pieces
with.
of
Well, I mean, there's snap. You want the snap fit, and I mean, you can do TMX, and there's like a lot of. I mean, really, everyone should be working towards TMX, but there's like some issues with them being wobbly or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, perfect stamps.
MX just seems to be where people start, typically, because the vast majority of boards are, and so Topre is only becoming like meme level recent, you know.
Well, it's like buckling spring. I mean, they're buckling spring artisans, but making a buckling spring artisan is actually kind of difficult to make it work correctly. And my thing with Topre is I made Topre in the beginning, and I really tried to, because the first boards that I used after my Cooler Master were all Topre. For like 3 years, I just used Topre. So I really focused on Topre, but I realized, yes, number one, there is a lot smaller market of people who are buying Topre, so you were doing a huge amount of work to get these Topre keys. They're way more difficult to make Topre than it is to make MX. And then you only have this handful of people that want them. And on top of that, I just don't like casting like the original Topre stem. You know what I'm saying? Like people will just take the Topre stem and just literally cast that, copy that Topre stem and put that on their key. And I don't do that just because it's like I want to make my own Topre stem that fits. And it's really hard to make it snap fit and work really well, where you're not just straight up copying Topre's original, you know, it's on their keycap. So it's really like an uphill battle of trying to make this great Topre stem and Topre key. And like they said, sanding, you sand too far, you lose the snap fit. Things like that. So it's so much work that unless the Topre community kind of grows, and if they start introducing some more Topre boards, I would absolutely start making some more Topre caps. But it's like, when I was making Topre, I'd have like 200 MX keys for 20 Topre, you know, and it was just all this work to make them to make them good, and it almost wasn't worth it, you know. But probably will make some more Topre in the future. I'm working on a version 3 of my Wolfjaw, or version 2 of my Wolfjaw stem, version 3 of Topre stem. That I'm hoping will be a little bit more snap fit and more accessible for people, but it's like there's only going to be like 1 or 2 of those, you know, of each colorway maybe in a sale. So it's just almost, I don't know, it's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Okay. I'll keep that for further. I don't think I'll do Topre anytime soon.
If they'd release more boards, seriously, if one of these companies would come out
with
like
key sets,
because
right now people are just limited to the black or the white.
Exactly.
And if they have some money, they have some real force key sets that are just blue or green, but there's no colorways that people are trying to match for, which is a lot of the buying factors of the artisans. It just doesn't. Oh, there's a colorful splash on my black keyboard.
Yeah.
It's like some people just like that clean.
Yeah. And certain designs look better. Like I think clacks look amazing on Topre boards because they're so clean and simple. Whereas my keys are so not complex, but they're just got so much crap going on them that a lot of times they don't look as good, you know, on like a Topre board as something that's really clean and just simple. Like, you know, your guys' keys that are really clean. They got cool stuff going on inside of them, but the outside of the key is really simple. And like Murray's, those are great on Topre because they're, you know, that type of stuff. So
do you guys have a favorite sculpt that isn't yours, I guess? You could say your own, I guess, if you wanted to.
Like, mine are the best.
Mine's are the best.
I only have my sculpt on my boards. I don't populate my boards with any other sculpts. I don't like collect my sculpts.
I pay after market prices for my sculpts.
I buy my own sculpts.
You buy them back from all your customers.
I've thought about that. I'm like, how funny would it be, you know, like to pay an aftermarket price for one of your keys, you know? It's like, hey,
really, I don't have it in my collection. I need it back.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorites are most of Binge's cute stuff, his otters and Slow-Fi, I like a bunch, and Murray's. I love Murray's. I like that he did a skull in a different way, and it's encapsulated and it's in profile. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Mary's and of Sean. He's a really cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
So, win-win. I also like ribbits.
Mm-hmm.
Finally got it.
The
like
feeling of
original ribbit. I was like,
There are two that I really, really like because I'm super weird about. I mean, like I like a lot of other people's work, but I don't necessarily like a lot of artisans to put on my own keyboards. And there are two that I really like. One are clacks. I freaking love clacks, and the love for them is kind of dying out recently. It seems they're not as popular, but I've always admired like how he was able to just put something so simple on there. And his casting work is incredible for the time. I mean, he was so far ahead of most of us, you know, where he was.
So passing a lot of people.
He passed most of the techniques that we're using right now back in the day, and he was just screwing around, you know. So I really like clacks for what they are. They're just really simple, really cool things. The sides are so smooth. They're like prime caps. I mean, they're really like glass, you know, on the sides. And I don't know. I really like those, and then also the egg face version 2. I think is a really cool key. I like the egg face. It's super weird. The egg face version 1, I was never a fan of. I thought it was really weird. A cool like idea, but I just but the version 2 is so smooth and nice, and it lends to like the details in casting, which I feel are. It's really wanted me to make kind of a smoother type of sculpt, but then it's hard because I look at it, I'm like, how do you do better than that? You know, how do I make something better? You know, so but I really like those two sculpts a lot. The clacks and the skulls in the egg face version 2.
is so cute.
Yeah, your Yeti is really
Those
good.
little toes.
I know. We cherish our little one that you
My
made,
Sasquatch.
the Sasquatch.
I
yeah.
have it.
I'm probably gonna make you guys a.
I'm so jealous that I
Sasquatch
didn't get in your sale.
I love mine. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Those little toes are too. I'm
so
trying to
cute.
double shot like the toes.
Oh, yeah.
and
It's
I-
like the tiniest little thing to
And
get
it's like-
resident into.
Anytime I touch it, it just like hits the edge or something, or it I don't know. It's just like
Get that
I gotta
Q-tip
get a,
in there.
I gotta get a really
Q-tip's
tiny
too big for those
syringe or
toes.
something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so, eh?
Yeah.
Q-tips the size of the whole foot.
Yeah.
You make custom Q-tips then too.
My favorite sculpts, I think, are Binge's otterophile.
Yeah.
I love otters.
Yeah.
We live on an island, so they're.
There are otters around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You live near otters? What the heck? You guys live in a fantasy world of magic.
It's magical.
We just bathe in maple syrup and just like ride the.
That's what sand Canada's really like.
Yeah.
It's true.
All their water fountains just pour syrup out of them.
Yeah. That's why we're all obese. Sure, just kidding.
My other favorite cat is the Sparky. He's like
Sparky,
Zor's little
yeah.
dragon Sparky.
Oh, yeah.
I like his little. He has little scales like on his.
Yeah, and he has
feet,
like
the little
nails,
elephant
and he has a little
stumps.
tail.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even
the
know
ones that
because
the
they normally take a
nails are
photo of the
painted
front,
in.
right?
Yeah.
And then I got, it, I was like, look at his little tail.
I like that one that has the bones you can see. I think,
Yeah.
I feel like that was a really
Yeah.
good example of somebody like taking their original sculpt and kind of revisiting it. I mean, that was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
I thought about doing something like that with keys, but that was so well done, you know, and it was really clean. It did a good job on that.
I mean, right now I've been probably most impressed by the She. I really like it, and I also like the Kiwok too.
Yeah.
The Kiwok's one of, I mean, just for nostalgia factor, because whenever I see it, I get nostalgia. I'm like, yes, yes. And like colorways are always bang on. You know, you guys both do really good work. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate that.
Favorite key? Oh, the Slow 5 from Binge. I just love his goofy
Yeah.
face and everything. You know,
Yeah.
headphones,
It's so
just,
classic.
Like, chill in there. You know, and all of like I like Crap's aesthetic. It's just like this like whole style in his caps.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Go in there. There's dragons and yeah.
Alright, I think my computer's almost gonna die soon actually because I forgot to plug it in too.
Nice.
But I think the last thing that I need to do is we're actually giving away, or I'm giving away a Yeti on stream. So
Are we allowed to enter?
you could. I guess you could actually enter. You just have to type in the keyword in the chat, which will be exclamation point.
Tacos.
Tacos!
Nice.
There you go. So to enter the contest, do exclamation point tacos and the bot.
Yeah, buddy.
So if you guys want to go on, you can. There's no restrictions. You just have to be in chat. I think. I'm not sure. I'm just saying that. I don't know. I think Beef's in charge of doing the giveaway. So. Anyways, thank you guys so much for.
Thanks, Tiny.
Thank you.
Thanks,
know,
for
Tiny.
having us. Fun.
I would love to do this like at other meetups and maybe even just online. I know I did some of the game stuff for the charity raffle and that was really sorry.
Yeah, we did that.
You hung out and I don't know. It's a cool thing and I love organizing these things. it makes me really happy to be able to talk to you guys, because I see you guys online, like we see each other's posts and stuff, and it's like not the same as being able to talk to you guys in person, and it's really cool to be able to hear your experiences with different things, because we all kind of make keycaps, but there's different ways we do stuff.
It makes us feel so much more important than we really are. You know, we're like invited here. It's like, wow, I am somebody in life. I'm on the internet. So proud.
My mom always like stalks our e-cat. She's like, I haven't seen any cats on the site yet. I'm like, Mom, we just posted them. We're all sold out. I'm sorry. She's fun.
But yeah, you guys have a lot of fans, and I'd love to have more of these. And you guys can check out all of their links. It will be in chat. Check out their Instagrams and follow and support them. And I'll be streaming the rest of this meetup shortly after I clean up here. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys around.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See ya.